It's only been 3 weeks, and already, guys, we have another Bellmawr direct connection Route 295 road project update, February 2026. And that's because the construction teams continue to move very, very fast. As you can see, we got this large, giant steel structure rising up over top of 42 and 76. In fact, if you drive south on 76 and 42, like, those beams are just gigantic. The camera does not do them justice. We're going to look at it from several different angles. I got myself a new audio microphone here. I think it's my 5th one. This one's staying home, connected to the mirrorless camera. I want high quality video and audio. Let's jump through. I got a lot of clips. This is going to move fast. Maybe one of the only times I show this view here. When we looked at this 3 weeks ago, there was a lot of activity in this area where the wall 22 is, and they've extended it with the steel beams to the columns. So all the decking appears to be in place. There's no trucks there. Now, I filmed this yesterday, Sunday, February 15th. So it is the weekend. People go home, but there's usually cranes and trucks left there over the weekend. There's nothing there. I didn't get back there today. So it makes me think that maybe the weather's too cold for the next stages, whether that's pouring concrete, or they're just focusing on the things happening south of Browning Road. Now we're going to take a step back. This image right here is from February 11th. What's that, Tuesday or Wednesday of last week? And I've talked about this before, that I end up in some of the videos with like these multiple series. Like I'll show you an angle and it goes back week after week after week. This is one of those cases. I was there Tuesday or Wednesday. There was one beam. I couldn't immediately get the video together. 2-3 days later, wonderful 42 freeway followers are messaging me like saying, Mark, there's so much more steel up. So let's jump ahead to February 15th, yesterday. All of the additional pieces coming off the back here. Now we're gonna take it a little higher. Now, by the way, this is the Browning Road is the lower corner, and we're looking south. We got a higher angle here, and you can really see, what is that, 6 pieces of beam. So you get this one large piece coming across, 6 going back. Now they are resting on a temporary steel support structure. I'm going to go back again to that lower angle. You can see it a little bit better there. So they're not actually, the other end of these beams are not actually resting on like one of the concrete poured columns. So what's interesting to me when I look at this is there's a long distance before you get to those 2 smaller beams in the distance there. I don't know if that means they're going to be extending and connecting these beams all the way through the sort of parallel in the same path as the roadway. But it's awesome to see this progress. And literally in a matter of like 2 days, because it was a weekend, Saturday and Sunday, they got those 6 extra pieces of the steel beams up. Now we're coming around. This is the ground level. Now I'm doing this with a handheld camera here. It's one of those gimbal cameras, but there's also, on Browning Road, they have that protective fencing. So it's like on a 3 or 4 foot handheld tripod. So it's a little shaky. Trying to give some interpretation of like what it's like to drive by, I guess. You can see sort of these golden yellow aspects. That appears to be where on the other end, the steel beam is butted up to this longer piece. Guys, maybe this helps give a sense of how big this is. Like if you look at some of the cars passing by, if they're like 5 feet tall, this thing's probably like 8 feet tall. Jumping ahead, I think another ground level. Oh, sorry, this angle here is just, you're more focused on the roadway of 7642 South with beams on either side. All, the overpass is going to be going over top of us right here. We're moving fast already. Now I've jumped over to the other side of the road. This is sort of opposite of the St. Waucom Church, and on the south side. Just to give that angle, you can see the piece going across from column to column, and then also extending out to the back. And here's where you get a really good look at those temporary support structures. Now, they're going to have to extend these pieces coming out the back there. So I don't know if that means there's additional support structures that just get added on, or are they somehow going to relocate this thing? We'll have to just wait and see how this progresses. This angle here is doing a couple different things. One is just to show there's additional steel pieces sitting there, ready to go. They actually look longer than what's on there now. And then in the distance, you can see the 2 ramps for 295. On the right-hand side is 295 South. On the left is 295 North, where that white crane is. That is the new segment. I don't think I put the drone up on this side of the roadway in the air to give that full vantage point. We'll get to that next month, or maybe even later this month, the way they're moving. Taking another look at the wall 22 segment where it extends into the overhead roadway as it gets closer to Browning Road. Again, you're seeing nothing here, but I had the handheld camera with me and I just kept walking around. I thought, let's just get a couple different other angles. So here's Browning Road, the brand new overpass. And you get a look here at the end of, this is actually 42 north to 295 north in the air. This very large, very close sort of flat piece, connecting piece. 42 north to 295 north. I hope you guys understand. We talked about that in the prior video. So you have that angle. There's also two other. Here's the other two paths. On the far left is 295 south. And then right in the middle of the screen is 295 north. And then over to the right is 42 north to 295 north. So you get a good vantage point of all these pieces. You know, it's just been so gray and gloomy in January and February as it is every year. The videos just don't pop the way they usually do. But I think what I do here is I keep spinning the camera over and finally just kind of give some perspective to how that sits in relationship to Browning Road. From that exact same spot, I turned the camera around. I just want to show here, like, those on the south of on the south other side of Browning Road are the roadway columns that are going to support the road go over top. So you see these two ones, the two abutments on the left. That's 295 north and south. Like, it's not going to be too high over top of Browning Road. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's going to have the traditional height. It's going to have, you know, cars and trucks going to go through there freely, no problems. My point of saying this is we've just, you know, ever since I've been a kid, and ever since this Browning Road has been there, it's just you're going over an overpass and it's clear to the sky. And probably by the end of this year, we're going to have roadways going over top of Browning Road here in probably 3, 6, 9 lanes, 10 lanes, shoulders. What we also haven't talked about is, if I click back to this earlier video on the side here, there are the sound walls that, you know, protect for the cemetery there, and they're at ground level. Guys, they're going to put sound walls on top of these overpasses. So not only we have sort of this kind of tunnel that you're going through when you're on Browning Road, over top of you, it's going to be a much bigger structure because there will be sound walls on the top to help protect the neighboring community from traffic up on 295 and 42 north to 295. I hope all that makes sense. So we're shifting gears now, and we're taking a look at the St. Joachim Annunciation Church area. So what you're looking at here with this exposed dirt and this notch, that was the abutment for the temporary bridge on this western side of Browning Road at 76. So they don't need that, right? It was a very thick, heavy construction, concrete abutment to hold the weight of the bridge end. The temporary bridge is gone, so they ripped that all out. My understanding is they're going to fill this in, you know, put the retaining wall in so it matches the remaining retaining wall, and when they're done, you won't even know that this was there. Let's see how that goes. This is just another handheld vantage point. You know, it's a gimbal camera on a long pole to get up over the fences. I didn't realize it was a little shaky in this aspect here, but just to give you a closer idea of, you know, who else is going to walk across the street. First off, get out of your car when it's 12 degrees and just get that close-up vantage point. So that's what I'm hoping to give to you guys. So that's it already, like 8 minutes or so. I don't know, 9 minutes for the February 2026. We're in the middle of the month. It seems like a good time to do this. Direct connection, Bellmawr Road Project update with some new steel going in. Hey guys, Mark, 42freeway.com. Thanks for following me. It's been a wild year. Thank you.